Well, documents have been unsealed.
Newly unsealed documents.
Many new pre-trial documents have been released.
Over 6,000 documents.
6,000 pages of pre-trial documents were unsealed and made public.
We are able to read a lot of the stuff that happened before the trial even began.
Very disappointed in the jury verdict. I think this is another big win for powerful men, and it's a colossal loss for women.
Heard's lawyers allege that the 21 Jump Street alum suffered from erectile dysfunction.
There was an effort on Depp's team to introduce new photographs of Amber Heard and also evidence that she worked as an exotic dancer.
Nobody cares if you were a dancer or if you were an escort, but if you continue to lie, then it shows character traits that you are a liar.
The Washington Post did push Amber's article, and it's a bad look for them that they potentially posted an article about a false victim.
We had an enormous amount of evidence that was suppressed in this case that was in the UK case.
Therapist notes are not in there. So important to Amber Heard in that Dateline interview, but they weren't even important enough to cut it as an exhibit.
Even though Amber, on a number of occasions in court, alluded to a bunch of evidence that would prove her case, no one has been focusing on the fact that she potentially lied again.
Amber Heard claims there will be new evidence in her appeal to overturn the defamation suit she lost against her ex-husband, Johnny Depp.
Absolutely not. Neither party can bring in any new evidence in an appeal.
Oh, hi there. Hello, hello, hi. It's my face again. Swoop! Sing it with me. Swoop, 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 swoop. Hi. So here we are again. Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. New information, new accusations, and the infamous unsealed documents. Now, we have a ton to cover, but I am not going to do it like most people on Twitter have tried to cover this, meaning there has just been so much misinformation, gaslighting, and straight up asshattery coming from like every direction over these unsealed documents that a bitch is exhausted, okay? And as y'all know, with all Swoop docs, facts are pretty important. So we're gonna dig into these unsealed documents, and I'm gonna show you the heavily researched facts explaining it all once and for all, hopefully, so that maybe, you know, asshat597 on Twitter will finally pipe the down. Sir, I'm gonna need you to have all the seats, sir, okay? Sit down, you look tired, sir. Now, for if you didn't know, I have done a 5-part series on this case already. I'll have that linked below. I spent a ton of time digging through court documents, transcripts, deposition, evidence, comparing UK to the US trial, all of it, child, to try to provide some balance to all the coverage. Now, also, if you're seeing me for the first time, hi, I make documentaries and short films on unsolved cases, true crime, and social media influencers who abuse their power and manipulate audiences because, as I always say, it's not drama, it's dangerous. We also dig deeper into the root psychology, and sometimes we take it to petty university, because honey, I can't with some of these hoes, y'all, okay? I just, And yes, we do have the new Petty University Season 2 merch available. I'm wearing one of the designs right now. Petty is my love language collection. I'll have a link to that for everyone who wants to join the Petty University community. And I have a feeling that I got a lot to love to give today. Now, for legal clarification, everything I talk about is alleged, and you should of course form your own opinion, which I would love to hear about. Like, leave me all the comments, all of them. All right, so real quick, and then we're gonna dive right in. I wanna give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Blissy, who I absolutely love, and then we're jumping right into these unsealed documents. I don't know about you, but I am always looking for easy ways to take care of my skin and hair, because I decided a long time ago, a girl ain't got time for frizz and wrinkles, okay? I just, no. And if I can get better sleep and wake up wrinkle-free at the same time, honey. So enter the magical powers of Blissy. So Blissy offers 100% mulberry silk pillowcases and accessories which give you better hair, better skin, and incredible sleep. And she's just pretty. Oh, it just feels so good. Every time I sleep on her every night, it's just so good. And I also got this super cute silky soft eye mask and a couple of silk hair ties that are just way gentler on your hair. So this is a completely natural, non-toxic, hypoallergenic silk pillowcase, and the benefits are massive. The buttery smooth silk allows your face and hair to just glide across as you move in your sleep without causing friction on your face or hair. It actually reduces hair breakage by up to 43%, and your skin doesn't wrinkle up like other pillowcases do. And if you moisturize at night like I do, the Blissy silk fibers are less absorbent than cotton, allowing your skin to retain more of that moisture in the products. And I especially love that Blissy is temperature regulating, which means the fabric stays cooler. And honey, in these summer months, child, cooler silk means better sleep. And even better, Blissy makes the perfect gift. I love that it's the kind of gift that everyone can appreciate and get great benefits from. So to get your energy back, sleep better, and improve your hair and skin, go to blissy.com/swoop, or just click the link below and you will get a huge additional 30% off your order and free worldwide shipping. And treat yourself, honey, you deserve it. Okay, back to the doc. Real quick, want to thank everyone for being here week after week and watching these docs, and also for clicking on the sponsors to check them out. It really helps support this channel and allows me to keep making these. I appreciate every single one of you, I really do. Okay, let's dive in.
I know how many people will come out and say whatever for him. That's why I wrote the op-ed. How many people will come out in support of him and will fall to his power?
Okay, so you've all heard about the unsealed documents from the trial that's ended and over, but will also never end, because trials can often get dragged out for years in appeals, and apparently no matter how much Amber Heard claims she wants to be left alone, she has continued to do things like the interview, the appeals, all of it. But with that, you've probably also heard that the newly unsealed documents change everything. Well, depending on which source you're getting the information from and if it's biased, these documents, in the onlooker's opinion, can be manipulated to support whatever agenda, whether it's Team Amber or Team Johnny. So let's take a look and see what's really in these unsealed documents and see what the most damning new evidence is, shall we? First and foremost, let's understand what these documents actually are. They include evidence that was submitted but not allowed by the judge into the case, and they also include the pretrial court transcripts of the two teams of lawyers that were arguing about what should be allowed as evidence and why it should or should not be. And this is an interesting point. The reason these docs are sealed in the first place is so that they do not become public before the trial, so that any potential jurors do not have access to the information that might poison the jury. And they're literally arguing about what should be allowed in and what should not, and the judge is making the decisions, and that's how we determine if the evidence is looked at by the jury or if it's not. It's an important part of the US court system and has been done this way for a long ass time, bitch. So the docs are now unsealed because the jury is done. A verdict was reached and they determined that Amber defamed Johnny in a big way. Had a grand old flag with that defamation.
And have a grand old flag.
With her having to pay Johnny $10.35 million.
$1 million.
And the jury also found that Johnny, via his attorney Adam Waldman, defamed Amber in a smaller way, awarding her $2 million. And even though it was Johnny's lawyer, the jury determined that this was the same as Johnny defaming Amber. Now, it's worth mentioning again here that the $350,000 on top of the $10 million awarded to Johnny was for punitive damages against Amber, meaning the $10 million is for damage caused to his character, and the punitive damage is strictly to punish Amber for doing it. Now, the jury actually wanted to punish her to the tune of $5 million, not $350,000. That's what they were on the jury form that the punitive damages should be. But the state of Virginia has a cap of $350,000. So yes, it's weird that the jury seemingly did not know there was a cap, but there's also a chance they did know and just wanted to send a message. Time to bring the pain, bitch, bring it. But also, Amber was punished the most she possibly could be in the state of Virginia. And it's also worth noting that Johnny was ordered to pay $0 in punitive damages. Do with that what you will.
I have a right as an American to talk about what happened to me, to own my story and my truth. I have that right.
So, onto the documents. How do these documents get unsealed and why do we have them now? Well, lucky for all of us, attorney Andrea Burkhart crowdfunded to raise $3,300 to have the documents printed, and she posted them on her website. People keep saying that she had these documents unsealed, but that's not correct. Like, these documents are public documents. They were only sealed initially to protect the jury, again, from seeing them. And then when the jury is done and the verdict is officially signed off, these docs become unsealed at a date that is usually determined by the judge. So the $3,300 that Andrea Burkhart raised is literally just to print the over 6,600 pages so that she could then scan them and put them on her website. That was a lot of work. She deserves all the accolades, all the accolades. And this basically just means that the court is charging 50 cents a page to print, not to unseal the documents. It's just, you know, basic legal shit. So I'm sorry, Harvard, but it's not that dramatic. Now, I do, of course, want to give a huge thank you to Andrea Burkhart for doing all of the legwork and making it available to everyone for free. Oh, and also the excess money that she raised from the crowdfunding was donated to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, which, as you may remember, is the, ironically or unironically, the same hospital that Amber said she donated or pledged or donated or pledged $3.5 million from the divorce settlement, but did not. And also the Art of Elysium, which is run by Jennifer Howell, who will come up in these unsealed documents. So well done all around, Andrea. The world could use more people like you making legal documents more accessible for people to learn from. After the documents were made available, the internet does what it does, and the story quickly gets totally skewed depending on which side you're on. If you decided that you had to choose a side and like not, I don't know, just look and listen to the evidence in the trial and determine who was at fault, I still will always have a takeaway that both of them were engaged in an extremely toxic relationship. The thing is, we don't really have absolute concrete evidence that Johnny ever struck Amber in a proactive way. I mean, there is this recording of him agreeing that he headbutted her, which I know people have glossed over.
Headbutted you.
Clearly to that.
Forehead. That doesn't break a nose.
We don't know if or any instance was just in reaction to alleged abuse from Amber or if he was the primary aggressor. We do, however, have pretty concrete recorded evidence that Amber struck and abused Johnny.
Because you start physical fights?
Such a baby!
Because you start physical fights?
I did start a physical fight.
Yeah, you did, so I had to get...
If someone staunchly defends her, you can't really argue with those absolutely atrocious recording. But with that, we also have very, in my opinion, concrete evidence that Amber has lied many times. Most notably to me, and where I still think that she lost this whole case for herself, was when she straight up lied to the jury's faces on the stand about the donation money she never donated. Pledge, donate. And using the same photos to allege assault in two different stories.
Sitting here today, Ms. Heard, you still haven't donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity.
There it is.
Isn't that right?
Incorrect. I pledged the entirety of the
Ms.
settlement,
Heard,
$7 million
that's not my
to
question.
charity, and I intend to. What was
try
your
to
question?
answer my question. Sitting here today, you have not donated the $7 million donated, not pledged, donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity.
Boom. Roasted.
I use pledge and donation synonymous with one another.
But I don't. Ms. Heard.
Just for the record, she still hasn't paid them. If I sound annoyed, bitch, it's because I am. But if you decided to take a side and choose that your stance is that one of them is 100% right and the other is 100% wrong and evil, then you get really misguided statements like this. When the Depp fans crowdfund $3,000 to pay for the unsealed documents so they could continue the harassment of Amber Heard and control the narrative, but they immediately get leaked to Amber Heard supporters. Wrong. Just wrong. and reductive. First of all, it wasn't $3,000, it was $3,300. You know, if you want to be a stickler for facts. Okay. The crowdfunding was to obtain the documents and put on the internet for everyone to look at. There was never a leak to Amber Heard's fans. They were always available to everyone. That's not controlling the narrative. That's literally providing all resources possible so that everyone can formulate their own opinion of the trial based on facts. But sure, you know, go off. Honestly, I think the people making these claims are the ones trying to control a narrative. That's just simply not what happened. And seriously though, why the hell would anyone drag a person for making information transparent and accessible to everyone? Like, do you want information to be inaccessible? Because like, if you do, why? Also, there are so many people spewing out this misinformation that the leaked documents contain new evidence that prove Amber was right the whole time. False.
Jim! False. False.
Now, we will get into the docs and look at both sides as we have been doing throughout the trial to give a fair assessment so we can formulate opinions based on facts. But big shocker here, most of this information was actually already available before all of this. People just needed to do some basic research, and there is not some huge bombshell. Every time I say that, I hear old Nancy Grace reels. Bombshell tonight. Bombshell tonight. There's no bombshell tonight that changes the narrative. Now, another gross PR stunt that has run rampant about these documents is that there is new evidence that definitely affects Amber's appeal.
Amber Heard claims there will be new evidence in her appeal to overturn the defamation suit she lost against her ex-husband, Johnny Depp.
Amber and her team have run with this, blatantly spouting off misinformation about supposed new evidence from these unsealed docs, and more misinformation about how the appeal process works. So the thing is, she already knows, and her lawyers very much know, there is no new evidence allowed in appellate court. Nothing, zero, zilch, nada, zippo. The appeal only looks at how the case went and if the judge made fair rulings. It does not involve anything outside of the original case.
Absolutely not. Neither party can bring in any new evidence in an appeal. The purpose of an appeal is not to retry the case. It's to have this supervisory court, the appellate court, look at the evidence that was presented, the rulings that the court made, and determine whether error occurred that was prejudicial, meaning that it would, likely could have resulted in a different outcome had that error not happened. It's really just taking a look at what occurred, not allowing any new evidence at all. Even arguments that were not raised below can't be raised here above in the appellate level.
This is very telling of Amber Heard and her team, right? They are only doing this to fuel the public opinion, and this is a very clear manipulation. This is knowingly lying to the public, spreading misinformation because she knows that the public doesn't generally know that new evidence is not let in. And she also knows that 99% of people are not going to read the unsealed docs. I mean, it's 6,600 pages. Most of it is boring as shit, okay? So if you just say it's all bad for Johnny, well, a lot of people are gonna believe it. Johnny's team is actually laying pretty low and letting his fans do all the social media work. There are people who are also spreading misinformation and leaving out the bits that don't make Johnny look like an angel. It's weird to me that in this particular case, like, why do we feel the need that one side is without a doubt 100% right about absolutely everything that came out of their mouth and the other is 100% wrong about abso-fucking-lutely everything, when we know that that's almost never the case in any real life relationship? We do have to remember, as much as some hate this, they were both found liable for defamation by a jury of their peers. Amber more so, but Johnny was also found liable as well for one statement his attorney made. So the case happened, they both took to the stand twice, which I think is like super rare, right? Now, Amber chose to lie. She did this on the stand blatantly about things that didn't even necessarily have to do with the point of the case. And because of that alone, the jury can fully disregard her entire testimony, whether or not someone thinks that's unfair, because it said so right there in the jury instructions. Now, let's be clear. Johnny may very easily have also lied about something in his testimony, but we can't prove it. So the jury doesn't have a clear reason to believe that he lied. And them's the outlines of the facts up until now. So let's get to the actual documents and look at the most damning evidence that came out on both sides. Oh wait, you know what? Actually, hold up. Okay, there is one more thing that's important to note about these unsealed docs. A lot of these docs are just the communication between the two teams of lawyers. So there is a ton of boring stuff about scheduling depositions. And because of COVID, there was a lot of like protocols for meetings and just a bunch of tiny, super boring stuff. There's also another very interesting point, and that is that during this pretrial phase, the lawyers can make arguments about evidence that they want to come into court, and that is actually protected speech, meaning they cannot be sued for defamation for what they say in that process. So both sides could just sling all the fertilizer, mud, whatever you want to call it, at the other side and see what the judge will allow to enter into court. I do think that this is why some people think these documents are such a big deal, but in reality, when you take a step back and realize what's going on, all of this shit they're saying could be made up.
No human being is perfect, certainly not. And living with it for 6 years and waiting to be able to bring the truth out.
Now remember, like most, if not all of the new evidence found in these docs was not let into court, and it was not let into court for a f***ing reason. It's unsupported, it's hearsay, it doesn't have to do with the case, it just makes the other side look bad. One of the first things I came across was a Twitter thread posted by a Twitter user, Cocaine Cross, that has been used as a roadmap of Amber Heard's new evidence that proves something. So let's take a look at that and see what we learn. Oh, this old line again. Okay, right. So Johnny Depp fans paid for the records, but Amber Heard got new evidence. Again, it's not new evidence to Amber. She and her lawyers were the ones presenting and disputing all of this evidence to come into court during pre-trial. So here we go. What is the biggest bombshell tonight of this new evidence in Amber's favor? Johnny Depp suffers from ED. Whoocha! Well, if there was one piece of evidence that proved Amber did not defame Johnny, this would be it, right? I mean, this proves it all, doesn't it? Like, honestly, like the fact that this is the first thing they brought up as new evidence shows me that, number one, there's no new evidence. At least any evidence that sheds a different light on the defamation. This was a defamation trial. I mean, this looks like a personal attack meant to humiliate Johnny. And the thing is, many men, and even most men, actually experience ED at some point. I want to put it on the record that Limp Simp, oh my, and Limp Dizzy Depp are not vile, but scientifically relevant hashtags, as there is a high correlation between narcissistic abusers and ED. Oh, I'm sorry, some people just need to stay off Twitter. Just, you know, you need a hobby, okay? All right, so while people are making this claim with like no articles of support, I thought I'd look into it, and well, it's a gray area at best, but more importantly, that's not really how this works. While many doctors and therapists do see a link between narcissism and ED, it's the narcissism that leads to the ED, not the ED that leads to narcissism. There are a shit ton of other links to ED. Big ones is age, so it's not effective and does not work to diagnose someone as abusive because they have ED, as there are a ton of non-abusive men with ED, and also a lot of abusive men without ED. So it's just just not a correlation to depend on here, but it is a great sophomoric insult, right? Haha, you can't get it up without prescription drugs. Like, is this proof of abuse? Is this the argument they want to present as an example of well-researched, thought-out, logical arguments to make in regards to the defamation trial? No, they just want to publicly damage somebody any way they can. I would like to think in 2022, mocking someone's medical condition makes you look like a fucking asshole. I'm sorry. I get a little heated, especially as someone who deals with medical stuff, right? My spine, fibromyalgia, all that shit. And like, if someone started out and they're like, well, Swoop is because fibromyalgia, I'd be like, can you just please come to the table with some intelligent argument that we could then have a conversation about? Because I'm absolutely willing to have conversations with people who have opinions that are the same as mine or different than mine. It doesn't matter, but we need to like ditch this whole, you maybe have a medical condition because I read it somewhere, I don't even know you, and so I'm just gonna mock you, and that's my point number one. Let's move on.
Everyone that I've met, the people that have supported me, suddenly I'm scum. Why? Never had to happen. One little lie. So yes, very angry.
Johnny Depp attempted to use revenge P against Amber Heard by submitting her nudes into evidence along with information she briefly worked at a strip club before fame, all while knowing this trial would be televised. I understand them bringing this up, but this is also misleading. So let's look at the document a little closer. Mr. Depp inappropriately seeks to introduce evidence of the following irrelevant personal matters. This is coming from Amber's team. Number 1, nude pictures of Amber Heard. 2, Amber Heard's sister Whitney's reality show video. 3, Whitney and Amber's past romantic relationships. And 4, Amber's brief stint as an exotic dancer years before she met Mr. Depp. And Mr. Depp attempting to frivolously, maliciously suggest or imply that Miss Heard was at one time an escort. This is an excerpt from an argument from Amber's lawyers about keeping this evidence out of the trial. Now, I'm not going to personally defend any of these claims. I'm just going to look at them and then state the reasons Johnny's team said they submitted all of these for evidence. Okay, so the nudes. Sounds bad, right? Actually claimed that those nude photos were ones that Amber sent directly to Johnny, and the reason for submitting them to the court was to show that Amber was not scared of Johnny and that she was actively engaging in their relationship and not in the way an abuse victim would. Now, who knows, right? An abuse victim can act in many different ways. So this isn't really an argument to me, and probably also why it wasn't admitted into evidence for the trial. But you know, I also don't see it as new evidence that proves anything good for Amber. Like, just like the ED she tried to get into evidence, it's just trying to humiliate the other, right? And I think that these photos were already leaked onto the internet and not by Johnny, but it sucks. Like, no one should have nude photos on the internet that they do not put there themselves. Period. Also, the nude photos is the only part that the tweet talked about, not the rest of the paragraph, because they probably didn't want to talk about Whitney's reality show, which was listed there, where Whitney admitted on camera that Amber had hit her or actually beat her up.
Did you get in a fight or something?
Oh, thank you. Got into an altercation.
Proof, say Johnny Depp's lawyers, that Amber Heard attacked her sister.
I can't believe Amber beat your ass.
Unaired reality TV footage sees Whitney Henrique repeatedly avoid questions about a fight.
Okay, did you really start the fight with your sister, or did she start it? For real, for real, for real.
We're not gonna talk about that.
She really did whoop your butt.
Mr. Depp's legal team say it shows her with marks to her chest and arm.
So why did the tweet not address that? I wonder. Next, it mentions Whitney and Amber's past relationships. Okay, fair. Except Amber certainly wanted to bring up Johnny's past relationships, and she did with Kate Moss in the trial.
Johnny swings at her, and I just see my little sister with her back her back to the staircase, and Johnny swings at her, and I don't even wait. I don't hesitate, I don't wait, I just in my head instantly think of Kate Moss and the stairs, and I swung at him.
Did Mr. Depp push you in any way down the stairs?
None.
And by these records, Amber's team really wanted the trial to include statements from Johnny's ex-lover, Ellen Barkin, who everyone by now knows does not like Johnny and thinks he's potentially violent, but also has said he never hit her, but one time threw a wine bottle.
Mr. Depp threw a wine bottle across the room, the hotel room on one instance in Las Vegas while we were shooting Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Was something about to happen?
A fight was going on.
Between you and Mr. Depp?
No.
Who was the fight between?
Between Johnny Depp and his friends in the room, the assistant. Honestly, I don't remember.
Do you remember whether the bottle hit you?
No, it did not.
Did the bottle hit anyone else?
No, it did not.
Approximately how far away from you was Mr. Depp when he threw the bottle?
Across the room, so maybe by that break in the table or a little further down. It was a toss.
And, Barker, was it your understanding back then that he was throwing the bottle at you?
I don't know why he threw the bottle.
And when he threw it, was it in your direction?
Yes.
Was there other people standing around you?
Yes.
So he threw it in your direction at a group of people?
Yes.
And yeah, that kind of checks out with the other things we've seen Johnny do of slamming cabinets and, you know, throwing things in the sink. And we've seen the TMZ video, all of which he has admitted to. But what he hasn't admitted to, and what we don't have on tape or undeniable proof of, is him striking Amber physically. Now, again, the headbutting recording and all of that, one could say it looks like, at least in that instance, maybe it happened, but possibly as a result of Amber abusing him. We don't know because we weren't there, and we only have hearsay stories of it in the recordings. And the one real live witness who said she saw Johnny hit Amber was Amber's sister during the staircase incident, which, as you know from my previous doc, was a complete shit show, and no one's story lines up at all.
I was up on the mezzanine floor. Whitney came down. I leave them in the kitchen to go up the stairs.
Debbie Lloyd was at the front door of Penthouse 5, standing by the door.
He threw the Red Bull can up at me, either hit or narrowly missed Debbie.
Johnny then hurls a Red Bull can and it hits Debbie.
Do you remember Mr. Depp throwing anything at Miss Heard? I don't recall.
I saw Miss Heard throw a Red Bull can.
I remember that something was thrown from up there.
I don't know what part of my body I put in between me and him and her.
But back to the new evidence, which is, oh yeah, Amber didn't want her ex-relationships brought into court. Well, I wonder why that is. Oh, maybe it's because Amber was detained for physically assaulting her ex at an airport, supporting a pattern of violence. Now, about exposing Amber's brief stint as an exotic dancer, first of all, this probably is on par with like the exposing Johnny's ED. Like, it's just something to try to humiliate the other person. But like, can we get rid of the term exotic dancer? Like, by definition, exotic means originating in or characteristics of a different foreign country. So I am confusion. Like, what distant land was Amber dancing in? Because I don't know, this just smells a little racist. From the late 19th century to the 1950s, the term exotic dance designated dances from other cultures that were different from ballet. These were the dance of colonized peoples thought to be primitive, wild, or barbaric. Yeah, okay, racist, cool, got it. And who used that language in the court, by the way? Oh right, that was Amber's team's language. Okay, noted. Old white lawyers using out-of-date racist terminology to gloss over a white woman and her body and her choices. Might as well throw in some microaggressions there, make it a real party. And like, what happened? Like, we just had WAP in these last couple of years. Like, we have a society have decided to tell women that female empowerment can be found in the form of stripping. Can we not just call it stripping? So the whole thing about the unsealed docs and how they are undeniably validating Amber's claim are just falling very flat to me. Where's the mountain of evidence they keep proclaiming that Johnny abused her, that we've heard about over and over and over again, but haven't seen a hill let a mountain of? You know, well, maybe they're ramping up, starting with the small stuff, then gonna come in hot with the real hard-hitting stuff. Right? I mean, the trial is over and she lost. That would be a less effective strategy, but let's see what number 3 is.
No matter what happens, I did get here, and I did tell the truth, what I've been carrying on my back for 6 years.
Johnny Depp actually submitted manipulated photographs of his injuries with altered metadata. Oh, really? Okay, this might actually be something. So why did you lead with this, okay? I'm just, whatever, fine. We can see that these images are not the same. There is clearly compression, color enhancements, and it does appear, at least to me, that the contrasts were changed, color was changed, but there wasn't a specific added bruise by Photoshop. And the creation and modified dates on the metadata could be for any number of reasons. People who are posting this on Twitter and like media outlets are saying that, you know, Johnny having somewhat doctored photos is evidence of deception. Then you also need to have the same energy for Miss Heard's photos with the exact same issue, with, you know, the same picture, different metadata, and her arguing that she somehow got up and turned a light on and took the exact same photo. It's the exact same position, same hair, the timestamp is exactly the same, but she claimed that these were two different pictures. And let's also then add in that Amber submitted the same exact photo for two different instances of alleged abuse.
You testified that this was the result of damage that occurred on December 15th, 2015. Yes or no?
I just need to orient myself because I'm just looking at a picture of a partial picture of a
Ms. Heard,
floor,
you didn't just
so
look
I
at a
can't.
picture. You looked at your testimony. Do you see that you're testifying that Defendant's Exhibit 725, which is reflected on the right side, reflects spilled wine on the floor in Penthouse 5?
That's correct.
Okay. And Defendant's Exhibit 512 and 725 seem to be different versions of the same picture, don't they?
That's correct.
So which is it? Which one was taken on December 15th, 2015, or May 21st, 2016?
And y'all know Swoop be nosy. Swoop need to dig through the facts. I pulled up her segments of testimony for both of these usages of this photo. So on one day when she's talking about May 21st, she testifies to this.
Does this accurately portray the scene depicted?
Yes, that's downstairs in the main, downstairs in the main apartment.
Here is her testimony about the other incident with the same photo.
Let the record reflect this was shown to Officer Sines and Haddon as deposition exhibit 37 to their depositions.
So which is it? Which one was taken on December 15th, 2015, or May 21st, 2016?
If you remove the redacted metadata, you can find out. It's right there.
Or if you're telling the truth, you would know.
Again, I'm not saying that this is a good look for Johnny if the metadata is different. I'm just saying Amber did the exact same thing. So to me, this is sort of a loss for both of them and not a win for either of them.
My goal is the truth. I pride myself on honesty. Lies build upon lies and build upon lies. I'm obsessed with the truth.
Okay, next. Johnny Depp intentionally manipulated audio tapes of arguments between him and Amber and refused to provide any recordings that weren't edited or altered. The metadata also confirms they were manipulated. No. The entirety of the audio recordings were submitted, and the ones that were let into trial were available in full to the jury for deliberations. Now, if you didn't know there was a time limit on this trial, it's not always common to court, but each side was given a certain number of hours that was used during each team's direct and cross-examinations. They also had time limits on their opening and closing statements, so equal time for both sides, and that's how we know how long the trial would last and when closing arguments were going to happen. This Twitter feed added the transcripts of one particular recording to show what Johnny's team left out, and again, it's nothing. They try to lay it out like this was a huge cover-up, but again, this was all available to the jury, and you can pause and read it for yourself. Amber's side did this as well, and I think that this was about the time that they were allotted for the trial. So again, this is kind of nothing. And if this is evidence for Amber's side, then whoo child, I am sure that they'd love the jury to hear some of the recordings that did not make it into the court.
And you perpetuate the fight. You perpetuate it when you run away. You start it when it could just be a petty argument. And you make it not a petty argument because you run away.
Okay, next. text messages between Johnny Depp and Marilyn Manson in which Manson calls his wife Amber 2.0 and asks Johnny for a place to stay so he can hide from the police. Okay, so what we're not gonna do is just assume guilt by association or innocence with association either. Just because Johnny and Marilyn were or are friends, that does not mean they are both abusers or, you know, both innocent. We're certainly not going to use one case as evidence for the other. So the text messages between Johnny and Marilyn Manson, in context even, do not sway my opinion at all about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. I will say that based on everything I currently know, Marilyn, I'm leaning towards he's kind of a gross, bad, abusive person, allegedly. And I can't confidently say that about Johnny and Amber. They have a very different story, and it's gross to me that people take sides on one case and claim that it has anything to do with the other. But these text messages in particular, they don't say anything. They are just hearsay, which is why the judge appropriately kept them out of the trial. Jeffrey Dahmer had friends. Ted Bundy had friends. They would have texted if like that existed then and had conversations. That doesn't mean the other person they were friends with is a serial killer, you know what I mean? Like, now, although it was not mentioned in this tweet, another Johnny Marilyn text that has come out has also been misconstrued. So have you seen this one? Out of context, Amber fans are claiming it says this: from Marilyn to Johnny, my new fan meet and greet girl. Looks like you need it. Trust me, I'll send a pic. 18. So they're insinuating that Manson is basically trafficking an 18-year-old who is running his meet and greets. But if we actually look at it in context, we see that this is not what is happening at all. Johnny writes, I am bus, just going through border of US and Canada. I'll be in jail soon. Love you, motherfucker. What song should I play with you, and what song should you play with us? And Marilyn writes back, Canada, the worst. My new fan meet and greet girl. Looks like you need it. Trust me, I'll send a pic. And then this is what's important. 18 with you guys. Depp show with me. He is answering the question that Johnny asked about what songs they are going to play together. 18 is the name of a song by Alice Cooper that they played with Hollywood Vampires, which Johnny is a member of, and Marilyn has joined on stage for that song. And Depp show is slang for Marilyn's song, The Dope Show, which they nicknamed The Depp Show when Johnny Depp would join them to play it. Again, Johnny is not Marilyn, and I'm certainly not defending or insinuating that Marilyn is innocent of the things he is being accused of. We will certainly be looking at that case as it unfolds. Okay, next. Johnny Depp fought to have expert testimony from a renowned psychiatrist in which she concluded Amber was a victim of DV at the hands of Mr. Depp. Amber revealed to her during a session with Depp that he was abusing her and that she would fight back. Okay, so again, this is hearsay. Just because you tell a doctor or a therapist something, it does not make it a fact admissible in court. And in this particular instance, Amber's lawyers are saying it should be admissible because Johnny was in the room and didn't defend himself. But that also is not an admission of guilt. We've also seen how Johnny gets real quiet and Amber dominates the conversation. In fact, Amber's team was trying to prevent their marriage counselor, Laurel Anderson's testimony from coming into trial, where she spoke about Amber's dominance during their sessions.
Ms. Heard had a jackhammer style of talking. She was very amped up. He had trouble talking at a similar pace. Their dialogue, he was cut off a lot.
So you can imagine that just because Johnny didn't say something every single time Amber made accusations, does that prove guilt? Well, no. Laurel also said this.
So he couldn't keep up with her rapid fire way of conversation. And so he was really overwhelmed.
So that's something to consider. Okay, the next bombshell that supports Amber. Johnny Depp attempted to use Amber Heard's suspended license as a teenager against her by implying she committed vehicular manslaughter because her childhood friend was killed in a car accident. Amber's license was actually suspended over speeding tickets. What does this prove. So it didn't make it into court because it doesn't pertain to the case. Yes, Johnny's team tried to get anything slightly humiliating about Amber into the trial. So did Amber about Johnny. So what? Like, I don't get it. So one of their big points of evidence then is that they would not let in Johnny's ED, and another one of their points is that they would not let in Amber's suspended license. I don't know what this is supposed to prove. How does this make Amber look any better? How does it make Johnny look worse? Okay, so next we have got to be getting close to a bombshell. We need some undisputed bit of evidence that proves Amber did not defame Johnny, right? That was what the trial was about, right? Did Amber defame Johnny? Yes, was the answer that the jury came to. That's the verdict. So where's the proof that she didn't defame him? Johnny Depp hid evidence of his lawyer, Adam Waldman, intimidating a witness into signing a pre-written declaration that she never saw any injuries on Amber. He threatened her with negative consequences and perjury. The witness testified she felt coerced. Okay, some cover-up. Maybe this is something. Let's look at the documents. These declarations were often obtained through threats and deception. Okay, so that's Amber's team's opinion, saying that these were often obtained through threats and deception. One such declarant, Laura Devenir, testified that she only provided a declaration after Mr. Waldman, Johnny's an attorney, threatened her with negative consequences if she did not cooperate with him, including perjury if she did not sign the declaration he wanted her to sign. Ms. Devenir also testified that she felt coerced by Mr. Waldman to sign the declaration. In addition, while the declarations all bore the heading of this case, none were ever filed with the court or provided to counsel for defendant. Here is her declaration signed. Okay, so the declaration was never filed in court, so they didn't use it. But what do we know about it? Well, it was used in the UK trial, so let's take a look. Laura Devenir, decorator to the stars and Elon Musk. She gave a written testimony in favor of Depp for the other lawsuit he filed in Virginia. It was not filed, but leaked to the blast last summer. In it, Devenir claims that she didn't see Amber Heard's bruises after an alleged fight between her and Depp on May 21st, 2016, among other things. Okay, so that's definitely not good for Amber, but was the statement all coerced by Adam Waldman? But in court on Friday, the Sun's lawyers played a recording that Amber had made without Devenir's knowledge, in which the decorator said that Depp's U.S. attorney Adam Waldman was, quote, the biggest asshole under the sun, who had accused her of being part of Heard's alleged conspiracy to frame Depp. She testified via video that Waldman wrote the majority of the statement and she just signed it because she felt pressured into it. A text message was also read aloud in court from Waldman to her, in which he asked her if she wants to remain on the side of the hoax. Well, first of all, you know, the biggest asshole under the sun is a pretty big asshole. But let it sink in. It also isn't great that Amber is just out there recording everyone all the time without their knowledge. But honey, if you didn't find the statements truthful, why are you signing it? Oh wait, there's more. Heard made the recording after Devenir submitted her statement, but Depp's defense read a follow-up email in court. In it, which she wrote after the recording in March 2020, Devenir again confirmed that she did not see bruises on Heard, nor witnessed any violence on his behalf. Waldman told the tabloid, despite working for Elon Musk, Ms. Devenir's recent email to her own and the Sun's lawyers, read out in court, reaffirmed her sworn testimony that she saw no bruises the week of May 21st, 2016, was not coerced into anything, and completed and signed her own final statement. I'll probably say this 100 times in this doc, but it absolutely drives me up the wall when people post a really damning statement as fact without doing the basic research to fully understand the actual facts and context surrounding the situation. Saying Johnny Depp hid evidence, that Waldman intimidated witnesses and forced a legal document, is clearly misrepresenting the facts of what happened. And the fact is, even if Laura did, let's say, regret agreeing to and signing her her own declaration, she substantiated her own testimony by her own emails to her own attorney and the son's attorneys. So her sworn statements, from everything we can see about not witnessing any bruises or injuries ever on Amber, would appear to be true. Johnny Depp blocked a declaration from his former agent, Tracy Jacobs, which stated his drunk and stoned behavior during the filming of Pirates 5 infuriated Disney executives and that they vowed to no longer put up with him. Okay, finally something that has to do with the case, like the actual case. As we know, part of the damage Johnny says Amber did to him with the defaming was the loss of movie work, specifically the next Pirates film. So let's see what it says here. Oh wait, this just says that there was a document that Elaine wanted before deposing Johnny's Disney agent, which Amber's team claims that in this document that the agent said things like Johnny's conduct was bad on set, Johnny was angry all the time, Johnny was drunk on TV appearances, and Amber's team is saying that if they had this document earlier, they would have been able to get this information from the deposition of the agent, but they did not. So none of that info was brought out by Elaine in the deposition of Ms. Jacobs, Johnny's Disney assistant. Well, you know what would have been better than this? An actual document that said this. Like, not a document that has Amber's team saying they saw a document that said this and would have liked to have had it before deposing the assistant, meaning this is all hearsay. This all could be made up by Amber's team. There is no document filed with the court that says Miss Jacobs said those things. There is only a document that shows Amber's team saying there's a document that says these things. Again, there is nothing here, like literally nothing, except Miss Jacobs' deposition was played in court, and it did say Johnny was late to set often and that his behavior was hurting his career. So I'm not sure exactly what new evidence this is. Next. The most damning piece of evidence that Johnny Depp attempted to have sealed, his declaration that Amber Heard did not cause him any specific physical or mental injury. Oh, so now I guess we're at the most damning. Great, let's see. Mr. Depp does not allege a specific cause of action for intentional or negligent infliction of emotions, distress, does not assert Miss Heard's actions cause him any specific psychiatric injury, and does not claim that Miss Heard's actions caused him to experience unusually severe emotional distress. Miss Heard effectively concedes to a bunch of redacted stuff. Seems interesting. What does Miss Heard concede to? Oh wait, here's what this is all about. Because Mr. Depp is not alleging harm based on specific physical event or mental injury, Miss Heard's motion fails to satisfy the in controversy and good cause requirements imposed by Rule 410. The purpose of Rule 410 is to secure or preserve to a defendant the right in a proper case to have the injured person examined. Damn it, Team Amber! I want you to give me something here. They want me to think that this means Johnny was never injured or beaten by Amber. Amber admitted to hitting Johnny many times on recordings, and this is Johnny not claiming a specific injury for one single purpose, so that he cannot be examined by a doctor on Amber's team. This is, to me, this is just lawyering, right? Rule 410 says that if Johnny claims a specific injury, then he can be examined by a medical professional on Amber's team. So they did not cite a specific injury. This does not mean Amber did not inflict a specific injury. He's just not claiming one. This is all just legal dueling of lawyers. It does not prove that Amber did not defame Johnny. It does not prove Amber never injured Johnny. All it shows is that Amber's team wanted to have their doctors examine Johnny. And I can understand them wanting to do that, just like Johnny's side wanted to have them examine Amber. And Johnny's legal team figured out a way to not allow that to happen. Now, what would we have learned if Johnny was examined by Amber's doctors? Who knows? We would love to know, yes, but also probably the same stuff we do know. Drugs, alcohol, maybe perhaps some mental illness. I don't know. I don't think it would change the outcome of the case, in all honesty. You know, it's very weird to me that the many mainstream media sources are coming out and saying that there is all this new evidence that supports Amber, when I am just not seeing it. Like, I'm really trying to look at it from a neutral point of view. I have biases as a survivor myself, like I've said all along, but I don't come into this with the attitude that one of them is just automatically right and the other one is wrong. I am looking for evidence that Team Amber says is there in spades. You can't miss it. And I'm just like, where the f is it? Johnny Depp blocked testimony from his own expert witnesses that concluded Amber Heard's photos of her injuries were not edited and had accurate metadata. Instead, he focused on 2 different colored versions of the same image to imply she faked them. Okay, but different color is edited? Like, any color adjustment, contrast adjustment, etc. is editing. Like, I'm just saying. And yes, Johnny's team did this. Submitted different versions of the same photo, but in this particular case, they are trying to claim that Johnny's expert didn't prove that her images were edited, but I'm not sure why that's important, because you and I can see with our own eyes that they are edited. To make matters worse, in Amber's own testimony, again, about these 2 images, she said that she took a picture and then turned a light on in between and then took another picture, which is a lie. It is a lie. These are the same photos with the colors and contrast adjusted. It's impossible for her to take a picture, get up, turn the light on, take another picture, and be in the exact same position, same camera angle, same everything, same timestamp. But notice how in the way that they presented, they zoomed in on one of them so that the framing looks a little different.
You testified yesterday. This is another photograph of you on the night of May 21.
That's correct.
And keeping this exhibit up, can we please do a split screen and also pull up defendant 713, which has already been admitted? Ms. Heard, you testified yesterday. This is also a photograph of you from the same night, correct?
That is correct.
You testified yesterday that the only difference between these 2 photographs is that the light was turned on.
That's what it appears to be, yes.
The light is on both of these pictures, though. Isn't that right?
It looks to me like the one on the left has the vanity light, the makeup lights, you know, the more yellow-hued ones that go around the mirror on, and then the one on the right looks like it doesn't have those.
Isn't it true you just edited these photographs?
No, I've never edited a photograph.
Didn't you just enhance the saturation for one of these photos to make your face look more red?
No, that's incorrect. I didn't touch it.
So again, Amber herself says that these are 2 different photos when they are not. So what does Johnny's expert not proving they're edited, even though we can clearly see and we don't require an expert to tell us that? And why bring attention to this when it's another clear example of Amber lying on the stand? How does this help her case? Oh right, it's just misinformation. Great job, great, perfect, see a pattern here. Next. Johnny Depp sealed a portion of his testimony where he attempts to explain that drugs and alcohol have not affected his memory or cognitive abilities. The portions that were redacted are highlighted in black. Okay, so you can pause and read it if you want, but basically they ask if Johnny thinks substance abuse has affected his memory, and he says no. And then word salads his way into confusion about what he was saying and what the question was. Which, yes, in a trivial way, kind of points to his memory could possibly be affected by substance abuse. It doesn't really prove a point here. Is this the damning evidence that clears Amber that Johnny might have some concentration issues? I'm pretty sure the trial was about defamation, not memory loss, but sure. And if you're looking for evidence that Amber did not defame Johnny, it's not in this redacted testimony. Next. All right, the Paul Bettany text. Lesbian camp counselor. This is already known. Sure, it makes Johnny look bad. Quoting some Monty Python sketch because he was mad at Amber, and it's vile, gross language, and Johnny did address the Paul Bettany text in the trial in his testimony, saying they were dark humor.
For example, the text that is about burning, it's directly from Monty Python. It's just irreverent and abstract humor.
We covered that in the previous doc. It's not some bombshell of new evidence. Oh, and also the Stephen Deuter's text, which we covered previously. Amber claims there were texts that proved Johnny kicked Amber on a flight, but the texts were not allowed in the US trial. Deuter's claimed that they were doctored way back in 2016, which is why they were not allowed in the US trial. They were, however, allowed in the UK trial, which is how we know about them, so they just kind of fall in the unsubstantiated hearsay category for the US trial. All right, so conclusion. Camera sees it one way when in actuality it's the other way. Case closed, I guess. It's just really disappointing to see how much misinformation is out there. I have personally been sent some messages saying like, I'm gonna wish I never said what I said in the previous docs now that this information has come out. And well, what? Like, I said what I said because that's what I gathered from doing the actual research. Testimony, the UK trial, the US trial, it was a never-ending stuff of information coming in. And like, all of this appears to be the exact same and reinforces what I've been saying all along. Like, if you don't read and comprehend the documents and someone says, oh, new documents, so bad for Johnny, so bad for Amber, like, people will believe it. But like I've been saying the entire time, I'm not Team Johnny or Team Amber. I think that there's bad things that have been shown from both sides, but again, Amber has proven to continuously lie. Meanwhile, Johnny has maintained his story pretty consistently throughout all of it. And also, if he has such poor memory from the substance abuse, then wouldn't it be much harder for him to keep those lies straight if he can't remember? I don't know. I guess, you know, both like really staunch supporters of either side are going to see what they want to see. And again, I've always maintained, if you especially are a survivor, if you relate to Amber's story, if you relate to Johnny's story, that's your right. It's going to affect all of us in different ways. I'm just trying to provide some resources and facts along the way.
I'm not sitting in this courtroom snickering. I'm not sitting in this courtroom laughing, smiling, and making snide jokes. I'm not.
Okay, so in that, since I've looked at the evidence that is listed up from Amber Heard supporters attempting to blast Johnny, let's look at the Johnny stuff attempting to blast Amber to keep it fair. Okay, so what about the unsealed documents that might not look great to Amber? Well, there are several, but it's also kind of the same stuff we've known, just more of it. For example, here's one that talks about Laurel Anderson, the couple's counselor. Now, Depp's lawyers say, Dr. Anderson said that Amber admitted that she initiated violence, that when she would try to bade Mr. Depp, he would go to see his friends because he actually had friends. And to stop him from doing that, she would insult him and then she would slap him to try to stop, and he would constantly retweet. This contradicts Ms. Heard's testimony that she didn't initiate violence. Like, she's a liar, Your Honor. And this is their couple's therapist. Also, Ms. Heard admitted to slapping Mr. Depp, to throwing a can at him, and to being proud of initiating violence against Mr. Depp. So yeah, I mean, this isn't anything we didn't really know either, but also more damning about abuse and defamation than Johnny's got ED, or there's some document that we don't have but believe it to say that Johnny was mean on the set of a movie. Or there was also more revealed in Jennifer Howell's deposition. Remember, Jennifer Howell is the founder of the Art of Elysium, where Amber's sister Whitney had worked and also gave her a place to stay when Whitney left Johnny's penthouse. We talked about her before, and I think she is an incredibly trustworthy source because honestly, she has everything to lose with her art-focused charity by not being truthful. And what we already know was that she said that Whitney had told her that Amber hit Whitney during the staircase incident. Now, we do have to remember that this is hearsay, so we gotta keep the same energy, and this was rightfully kept out of court. However, it does line up with one side of the story, and that story is the big one, the finger incident in Australia. Here's what Jennifer testified to talking to Amber's sister Whitney. She just screamed, she's done it now, she's cut off his G-damn finger and made this huge proclamation, and I pushed my chair back and I was like, what? This is what Howell told Depp's attorney Camille Vasquez. And she goes, she cut off his finger, and then she bolted out the door and was like, I gotta go call someone, I gotta call someone. When Camille asked Jennifer Howell if Amber's sister Whitney had specified who she and he were in her statement, Howell replied, it was Amber and Johnny, and she apparently had thrown a bottle and cut off his finger, is what Whitney reported when she came back in from whoever she was talking to outside. So while that is hearsay, it does back up Johnny's testimony about how his finger was cut by Amber throwing a bottle, and it contradicts every version of Amber's story, from he cut it on the phone he was smashing, to I wasn't there when he cut it, back to he cutting on the phone, I saw it.
I figured out he was missing a finger, he kind of held it up and assuming that that was happened with the phone.
She told me that he had broken the bottle and cut himself with the bottle that he had broken. You refer to a phone on the wall next to the fridge. At some point he picked it up, smashed it against the wall, that it was smashed to pieces. It is at that point that you have said in the earlier documents, and I can take you back to them, that he sliced his finger, to which Amber replies, "I do not know, I did not see his finger go off." The very next day in her testimony, attorney asks her, "It is inconceivable, is it not, that this injury was caused by Mr. Depp smashing a phone on the wall? You have just lied about it, have you not?" Amber responds, "Absolutely not, Miss Laws. I was there, I watched it."
Ms. Hertz testified in this trial and previously that she saw him smash a phone to smithereens, a wall phone.
Correct.
But she doesn't know if that was what caused him to lose his finger.
I was there, I watched it. I mean, again, none of this really changes anything for me. Oh, and there were some new audio recordings that were not part of the unsealed docs, and they're not great for Amber. There's the one where it appears that she's like forcing herself on Johnny even after he tells her to stop.
Love me back. Stop fucking forcing it on your time. Love me back.
Yeah, so that's gross. What would people be saying if the roles were reversed? But it's a guy, right? So it's a problem, right? Or then there's this one.
Babe, let's stop. Let's work it out. I'm sorry, can we talk? Let's get over this. Let's stop. Can we stop fighting? That is what's so insane. You sit here and you tell me as if I'm so annoying to you that you can't escape me. That I'm actually coming to you and saying, let's not do this. It is your issue that you can't let it go, you can't calm yourself down, you can't self-soothe, and you can't make yourself bigger than the thing that you're really feeling at that moment and go, you're right, I know we're gonna come to a solution eventually, let's end it now and come straight to the solution. Or, respectfully, I can't imagine coming to a solution because I need to cool down, so just give me a few minutes. And in which case, I would respect that. If you would respect it too, and you would actually be a reasonable amount of time, but I don't have that option. And you ignore on purpose is that I'm coming to you saying let's stop doing this, and you perpetuate the fight. You perpetuate it when you run away.
You perpetuate it when you run away?
You start it when it could just be a petty argument, and you make it not a petty argument because you run away, and then it becomes a fight. Instead of just saying sorry, instead of working it out, instead of facing it, instead of confronting things, you run away at minute 3, and then it's impossible to work it out because you've insulted me, now I'm mad, and then I have to come to you to go, come out of the bathroom, baby, let's work this out, which I can't do because that's annoying to you too. How would you feel if I ran away from you all the time? You fucking like it.
Okay, I mean, we've heard so many of these recordings, not a whole lot of new stuff here, just more of the same, but it does make me ask the question, why did y'all get married? Like, just why? And those are the highlights, y'all. So, like, how do you feel now? Like, is Amber redeemed? Is Johnny crucified? Did the jury get the verdict wrong? I don't personally think so. I think it supports the evidence that did get into the trial. It doesn't really change my opinion at all, but if you looked at the headlines, you'd think some actual new evidence surfaced. And you know what? I'm gonna call out our girl, Emily D. Baker. She said this is what she expected. I think it would have been more naive for anybody to think all these motions were only going to have flattering things for Johnny Depp and unflattering things for Amber. I always expected it to be both sides slinging mud at one another because that's what pre-trial motions are. Poor child. Okay, it is time for a kitty palette cleanser. And the kitties aren't here, so we go get some B-roll, okay? So a couple of things, and then I'll share my final thoughts. Be sure to grab your items from the Petty University apparel line. We got the new collection, Petty is My Love Language, several different styles, all the colors trialed. And as always, please make sure to follow me on Instagram and tag me in your outfits so I can repost your Petty University looks. It just makes me so happy to see them. I also do want to announce I am working on a very, very special new series. I am so excited about this series. I have never seen anything like this done before, and I'm working real hard on it. It's going to be coming very, very soon. We will be touching upon trial stuff, some true crime stuff, but in a very new and unique way that I'm so thrilled about. I think you guys are gonna love this new series. I cannot wait to get it started. I'm so excited. Couple of Twitter shout outs for my last doc. First one goes to Margie Riley, who says, "Thank you again, Swoop, for touching these topics with grace and respect. I have always liked Jennette and listened to her talk on her podcast, but the book has been a little sensationalized, and this doc really helped talk about it with more nuance than what I have seen recently. I'm so glad you found some insight into it." And the second shout out goes to Zoe's Acrylics, who says, "The thing I appreciate about you the most is that you give your subscribers permission to feel their feelings. In every doc, there's at least one moment where you validate us in our experience, whether it's DV, SA, abuse, mental health, etc. That means more than you know, and I really appreciate you saying that because I just hope that you guys find a safe space here." If you want to be my next Twitter shout out, make sure to follow me on Twitter at SpankyV, linked below, and retweet this video right here. Also, hit me up on Instagram, linked in the description. That's where I post most often, and I post questions, polls. Be sure to grab your Blissy Silk items for better sleep, add some luxury to your life, and improve your hair and skin by going to blissy.com/swoop. That's BLISSY.com/swoop, or just click the link below to get an instant 30% off and treat yourself, honey. I'm gonna echo some of my previous sentiments surrounding this case. This shit sucks. Like, I can't imagine what going through this trial must have been like for all parties involved. It must be an absolute nightmare, but it's going to continue on for probably a long time. And while I understand the hesitancy of some in regards to a trial like this being televised, I do think that as a result, we've been able to have more conversations around the very nuanced and complex topics of abuse, DV, and how difficult processing trauma can be, and also the very important conversation that male victims exist. I think regardless of whose side you might be on, there are no real winners here. Like, all jokes aside, this is a very sad situation to witness unfolding, and ultimately all I can do, aside from, trying to give some factual context to things, is to just wish healing for both of them. Like, I hope that Amber gets the help she likely needs to deal with her own inner struggles, and I hope that Johnny gets the support and healing as well. Trauma doesn't give one shit about someone's financial means, celebrity, social status, gender, any of that. And these are real human beings who likely will be processing this for the rest of their lives. I hope that we can continue to leave the door open for survivors and our feelings on this case, no matter whose side someone might be on. You never know what aspect of someone's story a person will identify with. We have to allow survivors the space to openly share what they might be feeling and how they're coping with their own situation. I think the more we start sharing parts of our own stories when we're ready, if we're ready, the more that we can normalize the conversation around healing and focus less on the abusers and more on the people who survive them. But you know what? Y'all got this. Class dismissed. Swoop!